Hi, this is Roxanne Dennant with Fruit Slabs and the Legion of Bloom. Thank you for tuning in to listen to us today. You can find out more about our brands on www.fruitslabs.com and www.thelegionofbloom.com. Also follow us on Instagram. Our handles are at Fruit Slabs and at the Legion of Bloom CA.
Fantastic. Well, listen, Roxanne, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast. It's another Thought Leaders in Cannabis podcast with Abe Cohn of THC Legal Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Abe. I appreciate you guys having me on today. It's a pleasure.
Great. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in the industry, what you're currently up to. Let us get to know you.
Okay, cool. So my name is Roxanne. I got into the industry as a patient many years ago. I've always chosen cannabis as my primary medicine in life, whether for pain management, stress management. It is just an all-encompassing great medicine to have. I always knew that I wanted to step into the cannabis industry, but I grew up on the East Coast in Virginia, and it wasn't going to happen there. It wasn't going to happen there as quickly as I wanted it to, at least. So I came out to California about 5 years ago, and I started Fruit Slabs a little over a year and a half ago. And Fruit Slabs, we are a vegan, gluten-free, organic, non-GMO edible company.
Okay.
So we use 100% non-GMO organic ingredients, and they're like a fruit roll-up. So we're using fresh fruits that have no pesticides, none of that in it, and then we're also infusing it with our sister brands, rosin. And that's the Legion of Bloom. They are a Northern California-based cannabis company, and they cultivate all their cannabis in very sustainable organic methods. And we use their rosin that is made from ice wax and pressed into rosin to infuse into Fruit Slabs. So when I started Fruit Slabs, I obviously needed to find a sustainable and scalable partner, and I was introduced to the Legion of Bloom through a mutual friend, and it has been one of the best partnerships I think I've ever had in my life. And I am now their regional brand manager, so I handle the Legion of Bloom down in SoCal, and they help get distribution going for my company up in San Francisco area, in the NorCal region as well. So it's been really, really fun. I mean, Fruit Slabs has been around since June 2015, and the Legion of Bloom launched just 1 year ago.
Wow.
And yeah, but the Legion of Bloom, they've been cultivating cannabis for over 15 years, growing together as a group for the last probably close to 10 years. And then they just, decided it was time to brand themselves and get out into the market. And so we have a full product line from flowers to vape pens that have cannabis-derived terpenes reintroduced in them. We have a CBD vape pen. We have rosin. We're launching edibles. And we are also launching topicals in the new year.
Well, what a wonderful journey it sounds like you've had so far. I think it's really fantastic and important that we do kind of frame cannabis in the discussion of its medicinal benefits. It really is a medicine for many people. One thing that I myself personally am certainly interested in, and I know kind of from a regulatory perspective is a topic of interest, is how you go about deciding the dosage that goes into each edible. So, I'm imagining unrolling this fruit roll-up. How do you decide how much to put in? I mean, each person is different. Everyone needs a different amount of the medicine. What is the process like from the ingredients perspective and the manufacturing perspective?
This is one of the most difficult conversations, and I think it depends varying on who you talk to, but I do believe that the edible community has come together and said that 10 milligrams is the standard dosage to start out with. And so if you eat 10 milligrams, wait an hour or two, see how you feel. If you're liking it and you want to go further, eat another one. We usually recommend that you start with 10 milligrams, and then the next day or the next time that you need to medicate, whenever that should be, you do 10, maybe 15 or 20 if you want to take it to, the next level and see if you need a little bit more medicine. But it's in the same way as when we were first starting out taking medicine from the doctor. Some
Uh-huh.
people are allergic to penicillin. Some people have, they are more prone to, like, steroids will mess with some people's chemistry harder than it will with others. And when you have certain types of infection, then you only know by giving yourself the dosage that the doctor is giving you.
Uh-huh.
So since we don't have doctors weighing in right now, we can only rely on one another and our own experiences and really listening to the patients around us as well. So 10 milligrams is what we say is a starting dose. With fruit slabs, it's a one big piece of a fruit leather, which is why we call it a slab. It's kind of a fun play on words with
Uh-huh.
the, dabbing and slabbing
Yep.
community. Kind of looks like one as well, just by the nature of the way the fruit lays itself out.
Oh, that's clever.
But we have 100 milligrams in our fruit slabs. We put it into a resealable pouch, and so we commonly, actually always recommend to patients that you start by breaking it into 4 or 5, even 10 strips. If you're a new patient, break it up into 10 bite-sized pieces. That's why there's a resealable pouch, so you can put it back in there. But the manufacturing process, it's kind of like making anything else. You have to make sure that your recipe is to the right amount for everything, including your cannabis, whether it's an extract or a cannabis butter going in there.
Uh-huh.
And the only way that you really figure that out is by making test batches and then going to the lab and having them laboratory tested. So every batch of fruit slabs that we make, we are sure that it goes to a laboratory for third-party testing for purity and potency.
One of the central issues that is almost inevitable that everyone must run into at some point is the fact that cannabis is a Schedule 1 drug under the Controlled Substance Act. Have you had any issues in any level, really, perhaps banking or even working with manufacturers who were nervous about getting involved in an industry that is still federally prohibited?
Oh, I mean, you hit the nail on the head twice there, and we can definitely take it further from banking issues. And, whenever you open a bank account, they're always, oh, what do you do? Okay, what do you open this business for?
Uh-huh.
You kind of have to be, if you're going into a national bank, you have to be dodgy around that, or you're just not using a bank, which is then a huge liability to have cash around wherever your office, your home, your business may be.
Yeah.
Definitely have run into the issue, especially in packaging, trying to get certain packages from packaging companies, and they want to know exactly what we're working with and try and say, oh, I make a hard candy if I'm searching a packaging for an extract that could be a shatter or a wax. And I just got to think, what is the closest thing that is to this extract that I could say in the legal sphere of under the Schedule 1 clause?
Yeah.
And even, I mean, Lord, when you think about further from that, the IPO situation too, and I know that that's something that your group specializes in. We have filed for trademarks, but you can't file cannabis products for a specific trademark yet. So we've had to dance around and file, trademarks under other classes, such as Class 25, under T-shirts and hoodies and
Yep.
things like that, in order to be able to protect our mark. So it's almost like we're always having to do this creative dance around all of these industries that we also have to utilize as a growing industry. And sometimes it's a blessing, sometimes it's a curse. It's a creative challenge. So if you look at it like that, you're just learning more and you're using more of your brain to get through these challenges. But it can be really difficult some days. It can be very, very difficult.
The money issue is what we encounter all the time. People just don't know what to do with their money. Have you decided to go the route of choosing a local bank, a statewide bank? How have you guys managed that? How do you go about thinking about it? What has your process been like so far?
Without getting into too much detail,
Yeah.
we have a parent company that we set up that is fully legal and does not actually touch anything dealing with our plant.
Mm.
So that has been the route that we have gone to just make sure that we can have a credit card. So when you're placing online purchases, you have a way to pay for that.
Mm.
Um, but it's been very difficult. We are actually going to meet with another legal group next week who has more information on finances in California specifically,
Mm,
to kind of learn more about that, because it's not been easy. We've gone to meet with several local banks, and sometimes they just provide too much information that you can't dance anymore. And the dance is done, and you're in a corner going, "Yeah, we're a cannabis company," and they won't work with you.
yeah. There are so many issues for a regular startup, a regular small business, to contend with. And here, the cannabis space offers a whole suite of new challenges on top of the existing ones that make, launching any sort of new operation challenging. So, um,
Yeah, I just want to say that is 100%. My sister and her husband have a startup taco truck back east in Virginia,
uh-huh.
and I've commonly reached out to them in our process of say, "What did you guys do here? What did you do there?" And I'll never forget a conversation I had with my brother-in-law where he's like, "Why don't you just go to the bank and get a loan?" Well, wouldn't that be just so easy?
Right.
But it's so common for other startups to forget that we just can't do that. We
Oh,
just cannot do that. We don't have that option. And then even if you want to bring in investment funds, that's a whole nother structure to your company, because how does an investor put in money into a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation?
mm, that's it. I mean, people just see the highlight reel of those companies who have succeeded in this quote green rush without really seeing what it's like on a day-to-day business and day-to-day basis, just trying to do the most otherwise normal of activities and finding oneself totally stymied by the federal illegalities. So
Yeah, it's
that's a
really
challenge.
crazy. And I mean, the interesting part of that too, I was at an industry event in downtown LA last night, and we were all chatting about almost the hypocrisy, because it's still Schedule One, but the United States owns the patent for cannabis oil as a medicine. But yet it says that there's no medicinal value in the Schedule One class. So
Right.
what is it really?
It's an interesting discussion. Many kind of hardcore cannabis activists actually have that patent tattooed on their bodies somewhere.
Hmm.
The patent is quite complex. It doesn't. It would be a mistake to think that the patent gives the United States government ownership, over cannabis or cannabis oil. But the patent was specifically for cannabis, for specific um, chemical components of cannabis as they pertain to their healing properties for certain diseases. So it's definitely more limited than that. But yeah,
Right.
sure. There does seem to be something strange for the government, out of one side of its mouth, to proclaim it without any medicinal value, which is what a Schedule One drug is, and yet, of course. In the patent office suggests that it does hold some medicinal value, and kind of reconciling that can be frustrating, definitely. Um,
Yeah, it definitely can.
I want to move on to, kind of the fun part of the industry, or what many people kind of think of the fun part, and certainly the visible part, which is the branding aspect. How are you going about getting your name out there, introducing yourself, creating a buzz about your particular edible? What has that experience been like for you so far?
My favorite thing to do is networking. I've always loved to meet people, and I always think that face to face interaction is always going to be your best way to get your brand out there and into other people's hands.
Uh-huh.
By virtue of going to various networking events or setting up a sampling table in support of another group's event, has led me to wonderful partnerships and amazing friendships now, with other cannabis colleagues from High Times Magazine, Dope Magazine. I was out with both of them last night, actually. MG Magazine, the Grow Division, which is a local marketing agency in Los Angeles that specializes in street art and cannabis and culture. You go out and you meet these people, and then it's when you say, you introduce them to your brand, you have a fully branded product and you have a story behind it, you have a message behind it, and you deliver that to these people that are working in these media agencies that have reach into all of these other pools, whether it be from cultivation to distribution to PR, and they start to introduce you to other people. And
Mm.
then also you start to get features in the magazines. I always say to people, whenever you're thinking about branding, it's actually what pulled me into the Legion of Bloom was branding, helping them brand to begin with, and then we grew as a partnership together. But the one thing you always want to do is how do you make yourself unique?
Uh-huh.
How do you make yourself stand out? And how do you make sure that you're choosing a name for yourself? And this is the biggest thing that I tell anybody entering in the cannabis space. When you're choosing your name, stay away from Cali, Canna, Calo, green. Now it's starting to be stay away from flower, farm, harvest, because once you get into this space, you're going to be running a real issue with trying to differentiate yourself from all the other people of who already have those taglines or already have one of those words in their brand name. Emerald, I mean, if you think of Emerald, there's Emerald Farms, Emerald Family Farms, Emerald Cup Family Farms, Emerald this, Emerald Gate. Like, there's Emerald everything. And then when you're going to apply for any type of IPO, it doesn't make your name unique. It doesn't make your name interesting, but also then when you're going to get Instagram and on Facebook or just brand recognition at a trade show, if people are thinking that, oh, what was that Emerald? What was that?
Uh-huh.
That Canna that we met, they can't remember it. So that's the biggest thing is making your branding unique, choosing a unique name, making sure that you're on all social media platforms and getting out there. Face to face is the best way that you can get your brand going in cannabis.
Oh, I love that. Well, for companies that really want to focus on their social media, do you have any experience with Instagram or Twitter? And if so, which one of these platforms have you found to be most effective for you?
We find that Instagram is usually the most effective because you have the ability to direct message. Now you have the ability to take videos similar to Snapchat. So it's kind of become this one-stop shop of a platform.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you talk to another person in LA, I'm sure they'll tell you Snapchat. Snapchat is kind of starting to become the more all-encompassing, but we've always been focused on Instagram. The only bad part of that is when the Instagram police gets you, and then your account is shut down. And that recently happened to us at the Legion of Bloom. We went from over, I think, 6,000 followers to nothing overnight. And
Oh
when you're
no.
engaging with other companies to fulfill social media activations, and then your Instagram is ruined in the blink of an eye. This literally happened to us. It's like, oh my gosh, we have 0 followers and we're about to do this amazing activation to hype up our brand and another brand and get patients involved with us. And now we don't have a following. But if you are careful to follow Instagram's rules and regulations, you will not run against that. And so it's just a matter of knowing how to run your Instagram and knowing what is okay with them and what is not okay with them.
Hmm.
Hmm.
There are so many challenges. Each turn, somebody finds a way to slow the progress. But of course, you just build resiliency and you keep chugging along, right?
Yeah, you really do. I mean, you'd either have to be 100% passionate about this plant and everything that we are doing in this industry, or just insane to be a part of what we're doing because it takes so much just mental capacity and creativity and strength and perseverance to get through this. But for me, as I told you at the beginning, I mean, it's a medicine for me. It's always been a medicine for me. I don't take any other pharmaceutical medicines. I don't have any pills in my cabinet. That is it. Cannabis is it. From CBD tinctures to I have a CBD honey on my counter right now that I make tea with, to smoking, to eating edibles, THC, THCA. Cannabis is just an all-encompassing. It's a wonder drug. I mean, I don't even want to call it a drug because it's not that. It's a wonder plant, and it was given to us for a reason by nature. And if you have that same passion, if you have that same viewpoint, you just can't let anything in this industry break you down
Mm.
because you know that you have a mission. I have a mission. I have a responsibility to make sure that everybody can have this medicine to benefit from again.
Well, you certainly have all of the passion of a successful entrepreneur, um, which we love to see, and is of course incredibly important. What are your thoughts about people who want to get into the industry because they just think they'll make a lot of money? Do you think it's as easy as people make it out to be? And if not,
I,
how do you feel
yeah,
about
go
that?
ahead.
Yeah, well, and if not, really, should a person only be getting into this industry because they have the same love, passion, and commitment for the product that you do? How do you kind of view that?
I think it's going to change a lot with the landscape that has recently changed, especially in California, as we just passed Prop 64, which now allows for recreational cannabis. And we're probably going to see a lot of those bigger, wider eyes with money signs and coming in and saying, we want to invest and all we have is money and we're going to, set up shop and we're going to read a book and we're going to try and do this. It's not that easy.
Mm,
It's really not that easy.
hmm
And this is we've been doing this for such a long time. So many people, I mean, not myself, I wish I could say that, but so many people up in the Emerald Triangle, in California, in Humboldt, and in Mendocino have been doing this for 40, 50, 60 plus years and have been fighting the good fight for it. And we are very, very well networked, and we are a community that supports one another. One of our biggest sayings in both of our brands is colleagues over competition. There is enough space for everybody here so long as you're willing to honor the plant and honor the earth that grows the plant. And if you don't have those morals, we're not going to invite you into our space. If you're just looking for it for money, it might be a little bit harder for you. But then again, it might not because money talks. And we see that from politics to businesses to entertainment, whatever you want to think about. I want to hope in my heart that we have a stronger community to not accept the people that are just coming in to make a bunch of money. And if they are coming in to make a bunch of money, team up with somebody that's doing it the right way. Support somebody that's doing it a sustainable, environmental, and conscious way.
Mm. Well, look, we're wrapping up here. This has truly been a fantastic and informative interview. What message do you want to leave with the listeners? What do you want people to know specifically about your brand and the products that you're putting out to market?
We would just like everyone to know that we are here for you as patients. We are here for you as colleagues in the industry, for other brands, other people, whether it's legal brands or media companies. We want to help in educating the world and educating the communities around us that cannabis is a medicine. It is a wonderful plant that we can all be benefiting from. There's nothing scary about it. There's nothing that should be illegal about it. And when it comes to our brands, everything that I said today is really we practice what we preach. We really honor the earth. We honor the plant that we're growing. We really believe that it is a medicine. When we talk about recreational cannabis, sometimes it doesn't even make sense to us because no matter when you're doing it to find a sense of relief, and therefore it does have medicinal values to it. So our brands are all, we're organic, we're sustainable, we are environmentally conscious. We are here to put great cannabis products out into the market. So if you buy anything or if you medicate anything from Fruit Slabs, you know that you are getting a 100% organic, non-GMO, edible infused with a solvent-free extract. And if you buy anything from the Legion of Bloom, you know that you're getting sustainably grown cannabis that has no pesticides, no microbials. Everything is lab tested, solventless and solvent free. And we specialize in cannabis derived terpenes, meaning that we are really taking the essential oils of the plant, which are so healing, just as healing as the cannabinoids, and putting an important factor on those and making sure that we're keeping those in all of our products as well.
Well, I don't think there's anything to add to that.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have had you on. We would love to have you on again in the future. And one last time, how can people reach out and contact you?
Please be sure to follow us on Instagram. And if you're interested in any of our products, be sure to send us a direct message on Instagram. We are very active. It's at Fruit Slabs and at the Legion of Bloom CA. You can also jump on our websites, www.fruitslabs.com and www.thelegionofbloom.com. Thank you so much, Abe, for having me. This has been wonderful. Probably one of the best talks I've had in a really long time. And I would definitely love to come back and chat with you guys more in the future.
Fantastic. Well, listen, everyone. Roxanne, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay. Bye.